Recessed meeting, the planning retreat that was held over from the earlier meeting. Our chairman will be here shortly. He's running a little bit late. We're going to go ahead and get started and let him come in. So with that, we'll turn the meeting over to Lance. You're up first.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I appreciate this. Mr. Vice Chair, I appreciate this. Board of Commissioners. First of all, I'd ask you all to review the budget calendar, and if you see fit, please approve the budget calendar for this upcoming year.
Look at that. Do I have a motion? Motion. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. Our tentative budget calendar is approved.
Okay. The next item we have in front of you is the mission, the vision statement, and strategic focus areas. First, we'll start with the vision and the mission statement. If you've had a chance to look at that, is there anything you want to change? In the past couple of years, you all have not made any changes, but it's totally up to you all if you want to make any changes or leave it as it is.
Comments, questions, changes?
As far as the support of locally owned small businesses, I know I'm still getting some communication as far as some of the small businesses with county vehicles utilizing the small businesses as far as gas fill up. Could you help explain what message we're giving department heads and how that's being kind of encouraged?
We have asked them to use we can't tell them where to go, obviously, but we've asked them. I know that we've had one from over in the Sandy Cross area that's asked about it, and we're going to convey that again at our department head meeting. But the other ones, they just basically use who they need to use. I mean, whatever's convenient for them. We could re-emphasize to use local.
I think that would be good because
Okay.
as they use local, instead of the, certainly you get the sales tax that's generated from utilizing any of the businesses within the county, but there's a greater likelihood of that secondary dollar being spent here as opposed to being shipped somewhere else.
Okay.
If we could make an emphasis of that.
And I'll get a little bit further into some of the accomplishments with the focus areas, but just as far as the vision and the mission statement, do you guys have any changes on that, or are you okay leaving that as is?
I've got a question.
Okay.
As we look at the breakdown that's put in the budget, public safety, human services, education, general government, other, our breakdown here, some of those things tie in with it, some don't necessarily. For me, it would be nice to see where we consider each one of these going. You know, of course, public safety is kind of obvious. Then you got, human services, and some of those are spread throughout. I really don't have any guidance. I'm just saying it would be nice to see that, because as we look through the general fund dollar breakdown, we've got public safety at 29 cents, human services at 25 cents, and education at 19 cents. So those are such huge chunks of our budget. I'd just kind of like to see where each one of those fall.
So a lot of these that are in these strategic focus areas, we tie their performance measures back to one of these items. So as they're going through, and if they come up with what we consider a stretch goal for their performance measures, then they tie back into one of these or more than one. That's the ideal goal, is if it's hitting more than one, but some only focus in single areas and some focus across multiple. We can make sure during the budget process that we highlight those more.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Like I said, I don't have any specific guidance. Just since we break in part of the budget down one way, it'd be nice to see the vision and mission kind of broken down, or at least highlighted for those areas. Thank you.
Those would be the strategic focus areas. As far as the vision, the wording of the vision and the mission statements itself, are you guys good with that, or do you want to modify those? Just those statements?
Gentlemen, consensus?
I'm good with this, even though it's now 3 years old, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's older than that, but it's a good vision, it's a good mission statement.
I do have a question, though. When we developed these, and I believe all of these commissioners except Commissioner Callum were with us when we first did these, we were trying, we had some conversation along the line, we were trying to represent what we felt were the general populace priorities as we went through this. Now, I think you have the vision, mission, focus area, and target and general overall view on the county website. I don't believe you have all of this breakdown for economic development and so forth. Is that correct? I'm trying to get the word out there. If the public has comment, that's what we want to listen to.
It's in the budget. It's in the budget document. And also, these are tied to your performance metrics for each department. So if in one department it could have economic development and citizen engagement all within one measure. If that makes any sense. Am I answering your question or not?
Yes, you did, but in a practical sense, we know that the budget is a tome. And if you don't single out certain things some other way, it will be lost in the multiple papers that make up the budget. So why don't we let that slide? You have answered my question, and it'll be up to me and the rest of these guys if there's something that we want to do to expand the public knowledge of these areas.
Okay. So if you guys are fine with the vision and the mission, then if you could approve that or consider approving that.
I move we reestablish the existing vision, mission, and strategic focus areas as printed.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Richardson. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Callum. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And with that being said, I want to hit a few of the highlighted areas for this past year that we've accomplished. When I say we, the county has accomplished. So as far as economic development, we have inventory site-ready locations for business recruitment and retention. The first is the Eden New Street. It's already completed that site-ready, complete site-ready. The second is the the Lot 11 that you all purchased that additional property for. So we had 33 acres in Lot 11. You purchased 11 acres, so we have 44 acres over there for development. And Lee said that's large enough for, I can't remember what size building, but it's a pretty adequate size industrial building. State investment in quality of life with amenities with the Smith River Bridge access, the Eden Greenway, Hogan's Creek Park, Planters Road. We've continued to focus on broadband expansion, and Derek will touch a little bit on that. Several water and sewer projects that are ongoing throughout the county, which we'll touch base on as well. Organizational efficiency and effectiveness. We continue to monitor and work with the Department of Health and Human Services for better information sharing, for a continued consolidation of Health and Human Services. We've talked about that for years. We've consolidated for years. It takes a long time to consolidate or continue to consolidate, and Derek's working very well with the staff at HHS to make sure that we try to get as good as we can with consolidation.
From a practical standpoint, what else can we expect to see there?
Practical standpoint, I think we are at our next step. We did a lot of the initial focus was on, can this position be shared across them for like support services administrative? But I think we are now to the step where we are looking at more holistic care for our citizens. So just because you come in from social services, there might be services that we can provide in youth services or in public health or integrated health. And we're working with those departments to make sure that we're getting all the care that we can for the citizens. And I would say those conversations have, I would say 6 months ago, kind of started heavily. And I think that some of the departments are starting to buy into that and trying to find that make it, just because one department's turning them away, it doesn't mean that we can't be providing a service in a different department. So instead of them being in silos, they're working together to find a holistic approach.
But as far as any continued consolidation, I mean, from a space standpoint, we're limited.
We'll get to that. We've already done the preliminary space needs analysis. We will get to that later on to discuss that further, but that will be a discussion in a few minutes. And the public safety part, EMS is nearly fully staffed, and the response time has improved over 2024, which is remarkable. It shows that we're starting to come with the market as far as the salary and the benefits that we provide. Implemented policies and procedures to ensure county management, safety, and risk are notified in a timely manner on any incidents that occur in the jail or any concerns. Citizen engagement, stronger push on social media, thanks to Daniel. He's done a great job on live streaming directly on YouTube, and you all for your commissioner recaps to improve accessibility and transparency. The state of county, Tinley, just completed the state of the county, which is great, and it's on our website now. Both the Employee and Citizens Academy, they have relaunched with engaging new curriculum. I think we had for Citizens Academy around 30 to apply. We try to cap that at 25, is that right? We had some really good folks to apply. We've already updated our website and a strong relationship between our county website and our social media platform. County appearance, highlight the need to take care of our community, trash pickup. We still have code enforcement putting those signs around when we have places that people dump and the signs are out there. We just hope they don't throw bottles at the signs and knock the signs down. But they appear to do okay. Other than having cameras out everywhere, you're just not going to be able to get that. Code enforcement and legal are working together to address the blighted areas that with properties, and we often get grants for that. Quality of life, HR is encouraging departments to utilize internships. As you see, we have 2 in here that we've built up. One's leaving us in the near future, and one's going to move into that slot. We do have a lot of interns, though, that come through here, and we try to make sure that we train, at least show the young adults that they have opportunities in local government. Facilitating job and shadowing volunteerism with our community college and our sheriff's department. Multiple grants, digital grant to expand wireless in our parks, grants to expand the trails at Hogan's Creek and the Government Center, broadband infrastructure. We've completed phase 1, phase 2, and we're working on phase 3. And we've also added, we've had problems with cell coverage. We have added 3 cell towers. Now, it's not we, but we've seen them added to improve coverage. 1,000+ new homes in the past 5 years, and we see a lot of continuous growth. We just met with our TRC. We'll meet with them again, and we'll discuss later of the growth that we're seeing.
I'm going to back you up for a second. I believe the telecommunication companies laid additional groundwork when they were installing the internet cables in order to allow for the expanded cell coverage. So although we didn't do it, we certainly laid the groundwork for that.
True. That's true. True statement. And lastly, focus area education. You guys, we completed a $625,000 ETWI, which is Eastern Triad Workforce Initiative grant. It was a collaboration between the counties, the community college, and the school system. Successful development of the first in the state, the career and technical education, career pathways, industrial support. And I would give credit to all those in here that were part of it, as well as our economic development department. And those are just a few highlights of the focus areas. We can go into more detail later on, but those are just a few of the areas that you all have addressed, or that the county's addressed in the focus areas. Any questions on the focus areas?
A quick question, and it's probably more from my knowledge. I was very interested in what you said about cameras. Do we have enough cameras? And the reason I bring it up is, for example, you've caught some vandalism over at Hogan's Creek Park. Which department put up the cameras? Do we have enough for what we're doing? Are they transportable enough to cover the areas that we need to cover?
We have cameras at the Hogan's Creek right now, correct? Or are we getting those?
We're getting those.
We're getting those.
Hogan's Creek is an example of.
We don't have enough. I mean, we can put them everywhere you want to, but we just don't have enough. Even at this campus right here, we have hidden spots that we just can't get.
Department do the same thing? Do they have cameras available for their purposes? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the strategic focus areas? Again, these were just highlights. Every year, they change. These are the ones that are complete or almost complete. If not, we'll move to the significant staffing and project updates, and Derek and I are going to tag team this. Starting off with the staffing update, resignations are still stable. Vacancies are manageable and not overwhelming for all departments other than our sheriff's office. We have a difficult time with road patrol and detention officers. That's like we said earlier, EMS is starting to true up, but we're still having a difficult time in those areas. The increased salaries through the pay study completed in 2026 has showed stabilization. I've talked to some of the departments, meeting with them one-on-one with their whole departments, and they've shown appreciation to the board for allowing these compensation pay plans to go through. And I told them that in this budget, I can't say, but I don't think that we'll be able to do one this year. It might have to skip a year, but they understand because we are truing up to market. We've looked at the consumer price index, we continue to monitor that, but everything's starting to true up to market. So if we can keep people here with what we're paying them versus them, one lady, when I met with the library today, since that pay study came out, was the difference between her going to Guilford and staying here, and she just got a master's degree. So that was just an example of what you all did to be able to keep one person here from going to another county. And this lady had a lot of experience here, a lot of time here, and a good education. We do encourage the internal promotions. We allow the remote telework and flexible schedules. That will be changed a little bit, but as of now, we're allowing that. It seems to be productive. We do monitor if they do telework or remote work. If they're not being productive, then we call them back in the office. Challenging with recruiting, again, it's the sheriff's detention patrol officers. I forgot to mention the sheriff investigators. And currently, there are no vacancies in the public health nurses. Well, I guess there is one now. But it's kind of difficult to hire a nurse, so we are still in the process of we were, according to this, at the time, we were fully staffed, but now we do have a vacancy, so we'll have to try to find a nurse for that position. Behavioral health coordinator, you all approved funding to go towards the behavioral health coordinator to kind of coordinate all of our efforts between the funding from us and the Reidsville Area Foundation. The goal is to have this person in place to meet the community's needs in mental health and to implement the behavioral health community plan that's already been created. That's staffing. Are there any questions about staffing?
Gentlemen?
Again, we were as much as 100 vacancies. Now we're down to a very manageable amount of vacancies other than law enforcement. Projects, the space needs analysis. So we're evaluating all of HHS, social services, public health, behavioral health, youth services, dental, and Veterans Affairs to be located within one facility. Right now, we're scattered kind of all over the place. We do want to discuss later on with you all how we recommend doing expansion out here in order to accommodate staff. We've found staffing issues where they're all sporadically placed. It's difficult to manage, particularly in social services. So we feel like if we're under one roof, we can manage better, we can operate better, we can be more efficient and more effective. And again, we'll discuss that at a later date as far as what our recommendation would be for that. But if that was to happen, what we would also recommend is we know that there may be in the future the requirement for counties to take on public defenders. That's been discussed in the General Assembly. They haven't taken any action on that, but that is on the radar, from my understanding. And so what we would recommend at some point is to bring the staff at the old Wentworth Elementary School on campus here, so we have all county offices here, and then make that area down there an area for the public defenders. That's just a recommendation. You all can modify that however, but that's what we've preliminarily discussed between staff. Any questions on that?
No, but I have a question on another, some of the projects that you've done in relation to our staffing too. They were quality of life things for the staff, for example, the exercise area and I call it the picnic shelter right outside the door. Have you had this sort of utilization that you anticipated when you started those projects?
Actually, in my opinion, we've had more. We have accounts when people come to the fitness facility, they have to swipe in, so we can have a daily account of that. Out here, it's just pure observation. During the springtime and the fall time, you'll have departments meet out there for department head meetings or department meetings. You'll have people utilize that for lunch. I think on the survey that we just completed, there was a lot of staff members that are very complimentary of the picnic area and the fitness facility. So I think they both are heavily utilized. Just among other things, our PA down here does a great job with staffing. So overall, I've had a pleasant response back for all that.
What are other things that they're asking for?
Tinley? Do I?
We haven't went through the data.
We just went, the survey just got completed when?
Last week, or?
Yes, sir. So the survey stuff was due 2 weeks ago, and I just started going through it.
We had a side project that we had to deal with, but we had almost 50%. We had 48%, which is unheard of. Out of 660 employees, we had 310 responses. So that's pretty impressive I think that's more than we've ever had. Last time, I think it was 227, was that correct? Or
Around there.
around that, yeah. So we'll provide further input later on once we have a chance to diagnose what the results are. Just a brief touch on the EMS base. The project has been completed. It was a lengthy process. We had issues with the sewer lines, as you all that live in Eden are well aware that we had problems with the EMS base. So we have finally got those resolved, and that project has taken place. If you remember in the CIP we had in there for the Eden Library, we were going to do the painting, the flooring. We had to punt that down the road because we had some issues with the roof and the gutter. That's in the process, and drainage issues. That's in the process of being resolved. Has it been resolved yet?
It's completed.
It's completed. So the next step is to put the replacement of carpet and the painting back in the CIP next year. Water and sewer projects, we've got several. The US 220 force main project, the Madison transmission line upgrades, the US 220 line upgrades, the new subdivisions connected to the water systems. You've got Levington, which is Carlton Road, connected to county water sewer. And that's the past year we had about 159 lots. The anticipated this upcoming year is Bailey Meadow Phase 1, which is 51 lots. That's Friddle Road. Jacobs Creek Phase 1 is Griffin Road. It's 162 lots. Neal Placement is Newman Road. That's 137 lots. And Northbrook Village is Ellisboro Road, and that's 63 lots. So we continue to see a lot more developments, and not just necessarily large ones, but 20 here, 30 here. I think at the last technical review committee, we had several homes. This upcoming technical review committee, we have several. So each time we have developers that come in and bring, but we got to keep our eye on the capacity that we have and how much we commit.
What percentage are we at?
That is a Caleb question. Caleb's not here. I could find out. It's not anywhere close to where it needs to be, but it's the amount on paper that we're obligating, Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, it's getting up there. So we need to at least keep our eye on that. Right now, the actual build out is not even close to where it needs to be, but the percentage on paper is fairly significant.
Okay, and as far as that water sewer fund and being in the black, I mean, how are we looking this year?
This year that we're acting right now, we budgeted for it to be in the black, but we have had some substantial expenses with repairing water lines right along the area where the Ford place used to be on 220. So we are redoing those water lines using some of the grant funds that we have because the base that was underneath those lines were laid on rock when they were originally put in decades ago. So that has caused us some substantial expense. Caleb is currently right now looking through all of the projected growth and with new customers to see where we are in this budget cycle right now. We had that discussion just last week.
I just want to make sure I understand. You kind of, you said the expense we had, but you're using the grant money.
So the expense to repair the lines was out of our local funds, enterprise funds for the
Okay,
water. and sewer.
so not the grant money. Okay, all right, just,
No, but what we said is, all right, it's time to stop repairing this line. We need to fix the problem. So we're using grant money to replace approximately 4,000 feet of line through that area.
Almost a $2 million project. It was, this 4,000 line was laid on bedrock. I mean, every time you have big trucks go over, we get massive breaks, and they're not small fixes. They're $15,000, $20,000 fixes.
so, in using some of that grant money, what is that doing to other projects that were on, on the horizon as far as expanding that line?
We just met with Mr. Lester. We've got plenty of revenues from the OSBM funds to be able to go towards future projects, and he's putting together a list of those. But we're very thankful to be able to get all those funds, 'cause that's helping us out tremendously.
For the general public, when you say those funds, you say grant money, where does that come from?
General Assembly or from Senate office, OSB, Office of State Budget Management, OSBM.
Right, which was part of the state budget.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
If I could jump in real quick, just to bring clarification to what Commissioner Berger was saying. So we used our enterprise fund for the repairs, but then to make a permanent fix, we are using the grant money. That's,
Yes, sir.
okay, to put a
That's-
point on it.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you very much.
Tax dollars, once
sir.
we, yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Before we move on, I guess one of the questions I've got, if you could set that emergency repair or replacement aside, that 4,000 feet, that's a one-time capital thing. If we set the cost of that aside, would the fund be in the black?
In the current year budget.
Yeah, in the current year budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Current
So-
year, but there's a lot of things in play. You all, this year, we're more than likely, or this upcoming year, we're slated to reimburse the general fund. I think it's $200,000. We're not going to be able to do that this year. It just, we won't be able to get there. We'll eventually be able to we're going to punt it down the road until we can get there.
Right.
We're looking at doing some modifications right now. Can't discuss a whole lot really right now, but we're looking at doing some modifications to maintenance and management of our water and sewer system. We're not extremely satisfied with the current system we have up now, but we will come back with recommendations during the budget on how we think best to handle ongoing for maintenance and management of that system.
When you say reimburse, we had a long history of being in the red, and I kept pushing to get a promissory note and get that documented so that the LGC would approve those payments back to the general fund. So that's what you're talking about as far as reimburse.
Remember, we had the debt we paid off. The general fund said we're going to go ahead and pay off that debt. Well, all that debt plus what the general fund paid for it years ago in 2008, that fund has to eventually reimburse the general fund once it gets on its feet, and that's the money in the bank. This year, it's supposed to be $200,000. It's not going to happen this year. We're going to have to punt it down the road until we can have some money in there.
And the way that agreement was written was for it to be reviewed this year to make sure that and it could be extended out for the payment start.
I want to clarify something if I could. Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you say punt it down the road, we're not taking a problem and putting it down the road. I think you're doing a good job of managing the account. But the point is, you had a goal to replace 200,000, but we're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
So we'll just replace that later. It's not like we're taking a problem and pushing it down the road.
No, this was just an agreement between the enterprise fund and the general fund saying, okay, we'll reimburse you because you loaned us years ago, plus it's got interest on it, 0.25 interest, so it's got interest rate on it. It's just saying that once you get more customers and you got money in the bank, then you'll pay back the general fund.
Right. And in simple terms, if you hadn't had this one emergency, the fund would be in fine shape. It would operate in the black this year. We know we had this one-time emergency. There are some funds set aside that can repair it, and it's just going to cause a delay in that 200,000 replacement.
And I think this year, we should end up in the black. It's just not $200,000 worth in the black.
Right.
It's getting there. It's going from red, way red, to little black. Eventually, down the road, it's going to be a lot black. If that makes any sense.
And just to add to what Commissioner Hall was saying, if you didn't have the help from the General Assembly, you'd be further in the red.
Oh, you'd be in the red, yeah. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, we would be coming back to the general fund, asking the general fund for another loan because we couldn't afford it.
Yep.
Okay. That with the water, we're going on to WAGA and the landfill. I know most of you may know about WAGA, but WAGA is a renewable natural gas. Basically, they're out of Alberta, Canada, and they build these boxes that convert our landfill gas into renewable natural gas. We are waiting on landfill phase 5 site grading in order to begin the civil work for the WAGA box. The gas transfer date has been pushed back to January 2027. We're hoping it'll be sometime late 2026, but it just goes back to, I can't recall, Shamrock. Shamrock's the one that got the award to do the Cell 5, and their timeline has got pushed back a little bit, so we're still waiting. We still have received the $500,000 from WAGA. We have another $500,000 that's supposed to come. Then after that, I think another $1 million at some point in time, but we'll get there. It's a great project. I mean, right now we're flaring off the landfill gas, and we'll actually be able to renew that and start making royalties on it eventually. And some of those, we wouldn't recommend all of them, but some of those royalties can come back to the general fund, from the enterprise fund to the general fund. We wouldn't recommend all of it because you want some money in there for miscellaneous things for the landfill. Speaking of Cell 5, the contractor is now mobilizing. Shamrock was the winner at $9.2 million. We only have $1.9 million in reserve, which means that Liberty will have to make up the remainder amount for Cell 5. With that being said, if there's not any questions about that, I'm going to turn it over to Derek to start some of the IT discussions. Any questions? Derek?
I wanted to start with the Connect Rockingham. This is the one that's been ongoing for multiple years. So we have completed what is our county commitment portion of that. The second phase, we are starting to see address points come online. I think last month, I think we had approximately 600 come online. That is being ran by North Carolina DIT, but we are, we were committed to co-fund that, but because of General Assembly funds that came available, we did not have to make a commitment, and we were giving our money back for that. So that led to phase 3. And in phase 3, we did take that original commitment in phase 2 and committed it to expand the ability to get more address points in that phase 3. The nice thing about phase 3 is it has brought a new player to the community. We were just Spectrum. That was the major bidder for all of the jobs in this phase 3. We did have Spectrum get a portion of those, and then Brightspeed picked up a large portion on the west side. So that brings competition, and a lot of people through this process have wanted competition in the market. So we now have a competitor in that western market where Spectrum had the hold. Both of those projects are expected to be completed by 2027.
Real quick, Derek, once phase 3 is completed, what percentage of the county should have access to broadband internet?
Well, if you want to use the definition by saying that someone has 100 meg or higher, then 100%, because satellite can be used. If you are taking satellite out of the mix, I would say we would be somewhere around the 96.8 to 98%. That is the low number to the high number. That is, we do have remaining funds left from that original commitment from the commissioners several years ago that we are working with BEAD programs, several different programs by the state and federal government. If we have to supplement to try to get some of these one-offs, we are working on those. Thus far, the several that I have received word that did not have internet, they've been able to work out a program through the state without us reimbursing. But we do have funds for that.
Commissioner Richardson.
Derek, for the public there, What's the cost of Phase 1, 2, and 3, and how much of that cost is the county picking up versus state or otherwise?
Total projects of these, we're in the mid-20 million range, and the actual expense to the county has been $3.25 million.
Thank you.
And the schools committed,
The
Reidsville Foundation.
the Reidsville Area Foundation committed $1.5 million, the schools committed $500,000, and RCC $225,000. So $4.5 million from
Our commitment was COVID money, right? I mean, we,
replacement funds that was given to us during COVID, yes. Non-local tax dollars, because we by statute can't use we can't use local tax dollars for those projects. So yes, I mean, there's a substantial win in this county for not a lot of dollars invested.
Thank you.
The other project, the finance and HR system, you guys have heard this project for years. I will say that we are full and running on the new version, and we're just working on ways to make it more efficient. It's a very robust product, and for years of going through upgrades and changes in the system, we've stabilized, and now we're just trying to get the best out of the system that we can, and we continue to move forward with that. One of those leads to the next project is our timekeeping. For decades, we've used paper for our timekeeping records, and it's allowed inefficiencies in our departments and, rules to be interpreted differently. So we are working through the process now of implementing a timekeeping software so everybody will be standardized and hopefully increase the process and time that it takes for us to do payroll. Those projects, the timekeeping has been a slower project because we've had lots of hurdles as we go through each department, but we're trying to bring departments up to speed as fast as we can.
The portal, you've got the employee portal.
The employee portal, and then as part of that is just more and more things that we can add to the employee portal so that they can do things on their own and not tie up time for HR and finance.
Well, I was glad to see we didn't have to print stuff envelopes and mail them. That's 650 employees twice a month. That's a lot of expense you're saving us.
Well, just the running payroll twice a month and stuffing all those envelopes, I mean, it's lots of efficiencies already been increased, and it's just the beginning. We have lots of opportunity in those systems.
Thank you.
The next one, I'll kind of transition. We're going to talk a little bit about projects, and then this is kind of going to blend into our CIP conversation. I want to bring up the jail update projects. That is a project that we started as part of the CIP fund. It was a 3-year original plan to do jail upgrades. And those entailed the shower repairs, which were things that we would be written up for. Those repairs have already taken place. That was part of our phase 1. The door replacement and repairs, that was for the jail doors. We had some problems from inmates kicking on the doors and being able to open up the components where you send the food through and things like that. That was part of that project. That was anticipated to be a very expensive project. The Sheriff's Department went out and got multiple vendors to come in and bid it. And after hearing from one of their vendors, they came up with a different solution than replacing the doors. They found that they could make some changes on the current doors that we have and make repairs. We met with the Sheriff's Department multiple times. They feel very confident in the solution going forward. It's a company that has done this in the past. So with that project, they are actually starting tomorrow to fixing the jail doors and resolving the issues that we had there. Another thing was central cutoff for water. So if there was a plumbing problem in the jail, they had to cut off all the water for all the cells in the particular pod. And that led to problems in the jail because they realized they could plug toilets and things like that and cause issues. So they came to us and asked, could we put in a system where you could turn off in the individual cells so that they could do a repair and not have to deal with the entire pod issue. That project has started and is in process, and all of the money for those needed throughout the entire jail has been committed. And then we had lots of kitchen items that needed to be repaired. Some of the items that came over that is in the jail came from the old jail. So they brought over, so there was lots of kettles and large pots and cooking devices that needed fryers that needed to be purchased to just bring it up to speed, be able to cook the food faster, and also we was having problems where things were breaking down and weren't working efficiently. All of those projects are in process or already been completed. And like I said first, it was a 3-year plan. Well, we're in year 2. And I would like to report that for this, we are coming in $240,000 under budget for the 2-year expense, not including what I had anticipated in the 3rd year of $180,000. So in this coming budget, we're not going to ask for the $180,000 because we don't need it. We've been able to complete these projects more efficiently and bring in new players and get better prices and what we consider better results. So with that $250,000 that we see uncommitted, we are asking, as part of this project, we have had a need in the last couple of years for the detective interview system to be upgraded. And it is something that they discussed with us last year, and because of the jail priorities and everything, we said, we'll just wait 1 more year. We've ran into a couple issues with that, and it is utmost important for the sheriff's department and for the county for the protection to make sure that that investigative tools are working as they should. So we are requesting is for the unused funds that's already been allocated for the jail repairs to be able to be spent to cover that, the interview room upgrade.
Commissioner Hall?
Yeah, a couple things. I know some of the upgrades that we've been talking about from these jail reports that the state has done. We've talked about replacing the lights with LED lights, and there were some issues there. And the alarm system, so on several of the reports, that has been an issue. Has that been resolved, to your knowledge? Or is that included?
Alarm systems have the LED lights. I don't know. I knew that they were supposed to.
I know that's going to be a pretty extensive replacement, but
I'll check on the status.
We can check on those because those were not part of the original plan, so I'm kind of going based upon what was on the CIP.
I know when we went through the report last year at intake, I see Captain Brown's here. There were a lot of records in the floor, and we had talked about having some of those scanned in, and the sheriff hadn't put those in the budget. Are we looking to do some scanning so those records could be digitized from the jail?
Digitizing records from the jail.
We're currently working with environmental health on the scanning and also, what other department? HR. But that will bleed over to the sheriff's department. We just want to start them off first. We got a company that can come in here and give us, we've been talking about this for 12 years. We're finally getting to it. And so they've got a product where they can come in here. They actually will take our documents, scan them in for us, and it's an easy, seamless project. We've got the money budgeted, and we will, once we get these, satisfied with these, then it's going to bleed over to all the other departments to try to maximize the use we have electronically and not paper. Some you have to keep in paper.
So let's just make sure I'm understanding you. That intake process, we're storing a lot of paper right now.
Currently, yes, sir.
And so you're saying we're finally getting to a point where we're going to do away with that?
At some point in time, it's just, we're going to get with these 2 first. But they're right now, I think they're doing paper and electronically at the same time.
Right. I mean,
I understand.
this board had to take the steps to put the computers in the vehicles. Commissioner at the time, Pirtle, myself, and Richardson did that. And, I believe we're entering the information in a computer and then writing it down. Is that right? When on the intake process, as far as people are checking in and maybe storing some of their personal belongings, are you writing any of that on paper?
Referring to the jail system?
Yes.
The jail systems, I would have to refer to Captain Brown. He will be here this evening at the next meeting, but I'm not able to answer that totally.
Okay. But we're storing boxes of paper somewhere, right? So there's some paper product there from some part of either the intake process or something going on, and that's as a result of what's going on at the jail facility, right?
I've not been through that process in a couple of years. I would have to walk through that to see, but it's possible.
But if it is, we can scan that stuff in.
On the scanning in, instead of duplicating the entry, there ought to be some way to have the information bleed over into another program.
I think it leads into one of the next questions, one of the items I'm bringing up.
All right, good.
Commissioner Cowell?
Yes, you was discussing the doors, that you brought a company in that's changed the way the doors are, the way the mills or whatever the little door flap is. Could you explain that a little bit? What's happening?
So when we put things in the CIP, the general request is you go out and you find a vendor that you know that does that work. You get some type of pricing so we know for budgetary items how to do things in the CIP. So those requests were made. When it comes time for us to approve and move forward with the CIP, depending on price of projects or complexity of the project, you have to follow all the purchasing rules that are set forth by the statute. As part of that process, they had multiple vendors come in, and we had a vendor that gave us a different solution than just replace all the doors. And it caught us enough to go, okay, wait a minute, let's see what's going on, because this is a substantial difference. So through that process, they went through and had them come back, communicate with them on what these changes were, how they would change the mechanisms on the door so they were no longer vulnerable to be opened. And they went through that process, and through the jail staff, admin staff, and the sheriff present, we just concluded that it was best to move forward with repairing the doors instead of replacing the doors.
Okay.
Because the doors had been kicked and that some of them were bowed, and how it was, the mechanisms were opening, it was causing safety issues, and they say they can repair those. So we're going through that process.
What about the danger? I mean, we had an inmate lose some digits.
That I cannot speak to, so.
Okay, all right.
So the question on the CIP of the remaining funds that we leave unspent that were committed in this budget year, we're asking if we could use those funds, the remaining funds, to do the interview room project. We also have some cell padding that needs to be replaced. We've had some damage and wear on that padding in the cells that have the padding. We would like to replace the padding. And then also we have one additional shower issue that is a repair issue. And we feel that for the intensive purposes for jail upgrades and the safety and the flow of the jail, this falls in line with those CIP original requests. So we were asking, because you guys had not heard those, I felt it was right that we bring that up and ask if that would be something that we could reallocate those unspent funds this year to use for those
And
purchases.
it won't spend the whole 240, it's less than that, it's probably, how much would you say it was? It was,
We have an original quote of 115. Being that size, we're going to have to get multiple quotes. So we would think that one purchase would be in that, and then I would say somewhere between 20 to 25,000 for the padding and the shower.
so you'll still be saving money, but our
Yes.
request is to allow us to go ahead and proceed with this right now while the funding's there. It's just reallocating it.
And any unspent funds goes back into the CIP as we re-up it each year in the budget year.
I just have a clarification. So if we don't reallocate the funds for this current budget cycle, this would just go into a CIP request for the following year? Is that? Okay. Thank you.
And I will say, I'm bringing it to you out of cycle because of the urgency of the detective room.
Commissioner Murchison?
Yeah, just the obvious question. Sheriff's okay with all of these things?
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's a major problem when you have to fix it.
He's aware, and he
Yes, sir.
says it's okay.
Yes, sir. He has sat through the meeting when we were talking about what we started CIP conversations approximately 2 months ago with him, and he sat through those meetings and understood, and then I've also notified him that I was going to request that. It was not their idea to request those funds early. That's coming from us of there's a need there.
Gentlemen, do you need a motion for this?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to reallocate the funds from one CIP project in the jail to another?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Callum, second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Carries.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that is greatly appreciated.
What?
Make sure he knows.
Going along with the additional CIP.
I just wanted to answer one question that you did have, Commissioner Berger. You had asked about in-car computers. We are using that with patrol, and those entries do go to the system, so we're not double doing that.
Even when, so.
Captain
on
Brown, if
the-
you'd like to come up.
Yeah, on the intake process, I mean, for some reason, there's boxes that are being stored of paper, and maybe we can get an answer as to exactly what that is, because that paper product is creating, one, a storage issue for us, and then two, there's got to be some sort of duplication of services there if you're having to write stuff down when you're already entering it into a computer.
So when they're being processed.
At some point, there's paper from something. If we could figure out what that is and see if there's some way for a computer program to take care of some of it, it'll accomplish a couple of things. One of those things being, it's actually more manpower for y'all, because you're not having to write it after you enter it, and whatever that paper product is from.
I'll find that out from the other Captain Brown.
Okay.
Just to clarify, I know from our side, we are definitely using the MCTs. They have been, wonderful for our patrol, our civil units, where we go out and we take a report. We used to have to write it by hand, and then a records personnel would have to type it in. Of course, our MCTs now, they're able to type the report if they are issued an MCT, of course, and then it would go into the appropriate RMS system, so we're not having that paper on our side. So
Okay,
it's
so
perfect.
maybe it's been minimized, but.
But I'll check the jail side to see
Okay.
what they're required, and if there's something that can explain that, I'll
Yep.
definitely get back to you.
Yeah, those may be legacy records too, that we're just required to keep for a period of time. Yeah, we'll find out tonight.
I'll find out what it is. He'll be here tonight too, and I can go ahead and pose that question to him.
Okay.
Thank you, Captain Brown.
So the systems that she was referring to, so the next few items are just general discussion items of where we intend to go with the CIP for the next year and upcoming years. These are projects that that are going to be very substantial. Some of our biggest CIP projects that we've endeavored through since we started the CIP process. And the first one, as I'll mention, is Kate's has came to us with the need of replacing what we call basically our CAD system. And our CAD system is what runs 911, and then it goes down to what runs the jail. It's what runs all of the information in our patrol cars. That includes all of the towns. So this is not just a simple 911 project, not a sheriff's project. This is an entire county project. They have came to us with a request due to the complexity of this project and trying to make sure that we find a vendor that would be the right fit for the next decade, because these are not projects that you want to go through often. They are looking for to consult with someone to help us through that process, to bid it out, and then find a vendor, and then implement that project. So that'll be one item that we would be adding to the CIP that hadn't really been discussed a lot over the years. That's going to be a multi-million-dollar project over several years. Part of that funding can come from the 911 fund. We would just have to work through that process, and that would be part of what that vendor would help us with. So that is something that we're looking to move forward with and start going through the process of the CIP and moving forward with that project.
Uninitiated, could you just explain to me what's the necessity of this? What's wrong with our current system? Why would
Current system is end of life.
end of life? Okay, so it's just a technological issue that it's just not viable anymore.
We opened up the existing facility 12 years ago, so it's 12 years old. and
There's
that's-
no upgrade to that. It's complete removal.
They offer a product that is an upgrade. It's not an upgrade. I mean, you're really starting over, but they have a replacement product, a next generation product. But we are currently now with one vendor that does everything, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's not so good. So it may be the time to look through this thoroughly. Is there somebody that's top of the line in this portion and top of the line, but they work together?
Do you
So
have an idea what the cost may be? Or a figure?
multi-million.
Okay.
And obviously, the towns, everybody has to agree on this project because we're in a consolidated 911 environment. So the towns are aware, they've kind of went through some of the initial, so they know this is coming, but as we start through the process, all the expenses not totally on the county, but a large portion is.
I've been around for a couple renditions of the changing of the radios. Is this going to necessitate hardware changes in the municipalities?
It is possible, but not on the radio front. It could be on.
No, the radios are just an example of everybody gets hit with expense.
Everybody gets hit with expense, but depending on what product you go with, if it is an in-house product where they could have to have server replacements. Some places may have to have network upgrades. So we don't know enough at this time, but everybody should be expecting expense.
So what is,
Be or they are?
They're aware it's coming. No, do we know what dollar amounts and stuff? No. The first year of this project is a consultant coming in and looking at all
I
the
understand that there's a lag time, but I sure wouldn't want the county to be guilty of not keeping the municipalities. They can't do their budget either, so.
Well, they're parties that deal with the 911 and the police department sit at the table with us on all of these meetings. So it's not a surprise.
Thank you, Derek.
Commissioner Berger?
so police departments are at the table, are the other emergency services at the table as well? Okay.
Because it's EMS, it's all.
Right.
Sheriff's Department as well.
Well, I'm specifically referring to fire departments.
Fire departments would not be directly, they could
Okay.
be indirectly, but they would not be directly because they're not on our systems.
Okay.
They run our Freedom app, which is separate of this.
Will that app go to the new system?
Could not answer that at this time. Because we don't know what product we would go with. That they may have a product that's better than Freedom. We don't know.
Fire departments may have to upgrade or change as well.
Correct. But any of those type expenses, we would be trying to do. But currently today, they're just using their whatever electronic devices and connecting to a web app. I would see that probably being the general trend. So with no opposition, that's a project that we'll kind of start diving down. And then earlier when we talked about the conversation about consolidation with HHS and the need for space, that's a project that we've toyed with for years, but currently right now, we're just physically out of space. We are very inefficient with our areas working together, so we would like to move forward with the planning and potential implementation of building a consolidated health and human services building, which then would allow us to start the cycle of reutilizing current facilities and upgrading those so they're efficient for each department. So it's not just an HHS project, it's going to be a campus-wide project here, because when you start moving these departments around, other departments will gain space and be able to move and utilize that. So we would like to start exploring that. We've done the space needs, we know the needs there. We would like to go to the next phase.
Or we'll meet with you guys in the near future to discuss that further.
Is this a continuation of our previous initiative about consolidating social services with HHS?
Yeah, this is the initial discussion was to have all of it together, and this will actually, 12 years later, 13 years later, it's actually going towards that direction.
And
A lot of money.
It will be a lot of, you're correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't sugarcoat that.
Is that going to come up in our budget discussions in June?
We'll have the discussions in the near future.
But to answer your question earlier about consolidation, yes, centralized lobby, using the same staff, finance staff, interpreters and things like that. This would take you to the next level of, instead of everybody having their independent, because they're in multiple different buildings, this would consolidate that down. also some of our transportation services.
Along the same line, the initiative that Kate's is proposing, is that going to be discussion in this upcoming budget?
Yeah, that's kind of what, the conversation we're having right now is you go, nope, or let's continue on, and then we will have those conversations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Both of these are substantial projects that we don't want to start down a path if you guys are not saying it's worth us looking into.
Gentlemen, at this moment, do we have any opposition? Commissioner Berger?
When you say opposition, I believe you're talking about having these discussions in the near future. Right?
Yes, any opposition to moving forward with discussions?
Yeah, I mean, they're happy to hear whatever you got to present. Yeah.
The reason, this is a little different for how we're doing it is, in the years past, you guys saw the CIP item when it was already asked for in the budget. So we don't want somebody to go through all the effort and make all the requests and all of these quotes and put stuff in the budget if you guys weren't even aware it was coming. So we're trying to get it in front of it. We would like to have had these conversations a few weeks back. Weather didn't cooperate. So this is more of keeping you informed and making sure that we're not wasting or spinning our wheels on working on projects that doesn't meet the common
We
goal.
don't even want to hear about it. You don't, I
This is
understand.
what this is about.
Yeah, to tell us about it.
Thank you. That's all I have right now.
You want to?
All right, before we move on, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hall?
talking about the CIP and the projects that we have and the money that's set aside, is it too much money that we're setting aside? Is it not enough money? How are we doing with regards to the CIP budget?
Each year, we operate the CIP budget of the projects that we approve is left over from all of our debt financing. So each year, we've been adequately able to move forward. Our general consensus of coming with these projects is we feel that this is in range that we could continue without the need for additional funding.
If you're asking, do we have excess? No.
We do not.
That's, yeah, boil it down, that's my question.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Okay.
Currently, now, you could down the road, because the further we go with that 5.5 cents or whatever it is now, when the debt goes down, the value of that goes up. So there'll be a point in time when you'll have excess, but not in the near future.
Not in the near future. And we've looked at paying some of our debt off, and it's not feasible to pay it off early because of the interest rates that we have. We can earn more with the money that we have than that interest rate is so low.
Not gonna save us anything.
It's not going to save us anything. So like we've looked at several of those projects, and our Davenport comes back and says, no, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You're on the right path.
Good deal.
Well, I know we've got several things.
Free Avenue.
Yeah, it's awesome, yes.
I know we got several things coming up, with the South End School. We've got matching funds there that we'll have to set aside. We're going to have other repairs and such as we're looking forward, repairs or improvements. I just want to be sure that we have an adequate money there. I know we've been criticized for raising the budget some amount, but I just want to be sure that we do have enough to operate and be sure that the kids get what they need as well.
And to that point right there, if anybody wants to see our budget, it's right there. It's in black and white. I mean, there's nothing to hide. If there's somebody can bring that budget down, I'd love to hear about it, because it's about as transparent as could be. It's the most transparent budget I've been a part of in 32 years. So let them come look at it and ask us questions.
Well, thank you. I agree with that. I mean, we've been criticized for increasing the sheriff's budget a couple of $1 million. We've been criticized for giving the schools an additional $3.2 million, and then the other increases that we had. But then at the same time, we get criticized saying we need to give law enforcement more money. So, it's got to come from somewhere. You can't just write bad checks and balance our budget that way like some people do.
I know I stepped out and came in at the tail end of that, so I do think it's, we've all worked on the current budget. I'd be interested to know, personally, we went through it. I appreciate the transparency with the budget. I know we've joked a little bit, but the reason it's so thick is because I've asked for more detail. And when we first started, and I know we've looked back at some budgets from 15 years ago, and they're like this thick, but a lot of that because of lack of detail. You know, I'll go, Commissioner Richardson, do you know of anything in the budget that was wasteful spending or?
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to wait to the end of this whole conversation to congratulate you. I've been at this 14 years, and we've generally given you the same direction: don't raise taxes. And you know what? You've never failed to follow that request. And so, once again, I commend you, because when people look at the number of line items you have to deal with within that budget, it's not simple. And to get to a bottom line that does not increase the tax burden on our population, I think is commendable. So stay at it.
Another thing is, just for the benefit of the public, is that, you know, some think that there's fluff in there. And if there's, so department heads that we have, I would commend them tremendously, because they don't spend just to spend. If there's $1 million left at the very end of the year, they don't say, okay, we got $1 million left, let's spend it or we won't get it next year. Whatever they don't have left over, they put back in the general fund. It goes back in the fund balance.
I got you. And
I'm just saying that for the benefit of the
us,
public.
Certainly, and I go around a lot, but I'm not hovering over the department head's desk seeing what, but I know of no wasteful spending. You've caught a couple of people that were trying to do it, I know that.
Yes, sir.
But that was criminal activity. That wasn't something inconsistent with the budget.
Commissioner Barrow, are you familiar, are you aware of any wasteful spending that we've got?
I would say that, as mentioned earlier, it is a very transparent and data-driven budget, and anyone that's interested can look online and see the whole thing. No, I'm not aware of that. Now, if someone has a quibble about the way a certain amount of money has been allocated, that's a legitimate discussion that we can have. But as far as to say something has been wasteful, no, I would not say so.
Commissioner Kellum? I'll
No.
ask you the same question.
No, as far as I know, no wasteful spending.
Okay. And, you know, we certainly have to build in contingencies for surprise expenses, such as the water line issue, such as claims on insurance. And one of the things we're dealing with later tonight, which is health insurance issues and health care for folks in custody. Those things, I mean, we try to allocate the money and the best we can off of historical data. But we've got to have that money available because we don't have a choice but to pay it. So certainly appreciate all your efforts and everything that you do. I mean, we did allocate more money to education, and it seems that the people that complain about that are the uneducated. We did allocate more money towards law enforcement. People that complain about that tend to be those that are seeking attention. So that's appreciate everything that you do.
Mr. Chair, you want to move on?
I'm sorry, Lance. Which item are we moving to now?
Now we're at Todd Hurst, the current year tax base trends.
Well, then I think I'm good to move forward with Todd. Todd, please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Chairman of the Board. I want to go over some of the highlighted information that I feel is important based on the information that I turned into y'all on the tax base trends. As far as real property building permits, they may have decreased from main structures from 593 to 519 from 24. But I wanted y'all to remember that even though the 25 total may have decreased, the tax department values all property as of January 1. So some of those 24 permits may have not started construction until this year and will be taxed for the 26-27 fiscal year. Deeds and plat totals, they increased from 44,262 in 24 to 4,362 in 25. The sales ratio at the reval, it was 98.78%. Now, what we're estimating is an estimate percentage of 90.80%, which it will not be finalized until around the 1st of May of this coming year. On the reappraisal of real property, please remember exemptions, exclusions, PUV, they will all reduce the countywide real property growth. And the 24 revaluation growth was approximately about 58%. Every year after a reval, we have to do a random sample study of 1% of our information of the improved parcels to the state. So I know y'all voted on a desktop reval for the advancement of the 4-year 2028 revaluation, and I thank y'all for that, doing that, and also for the pixels far as the Eagle View and updating that. That has been a major asset already, and I feel it will be to everybody in the entire county that availability to use it. But on the percentages, our accuracy findings were 99.53% on square footage, 98.10 on objective data, which is such as bath fixtures and heat, and 99.3 on subjective data, which was miscellaneous buildings, which even though you don't have to go off of their standards, it still showed that doing a desktop appraisal was within the guidelines of what was met by them. Personal property, business personal property, of course, there are always swings due to additions and deletions, and we will not have the final figures until around April 30th due to extensions requested by a lot of businesses after the April 15th, until April 15th's due date. A few business changes and closes. Nestle Purina, of course, with a Brownsfield tax exclusion. The real estate increased this year, but due to a reduction in CIP, which is construction in progress going into, which means that it has moved into progress and the value will depreciate on some of that. We won't have the final numbers on that until around the end of April. You have Farmina Food, Joy Always takeover of Guy and O'Neill, White Fiber Data Center, which with the purchase of the Unified Med plant in Madison, it will not affect until the 26 value, but it won't affect this year, but will affect next year's value. Press glass closure, of course, it's good that they've sold, to Clear Light Glass and Mirror, which that'll affect 26, which is good to see that building, going into use now too. When you get into public service companies, which was what we had a big, major discussion on when we had the reval, the 26 values will not be available until September of 26. The only equalization we'll have will be of railroads, and railroads are a very small portion of what it is. At 95%, they equalize. Right now, our ratio, where it's 90.8, if we drop below the 90 percentile, would mean we would equalize. But thank y'all again for the advancement. We don't have to worry about that, which is better for everyone. The public, everybody in entire county will benefit from not having to worry with trying to figure budgets and all of that in that situation. The 2025 system value for public utility is $1,173,536,699, which is an increase of $48,665,903 from 2024. And of course, we are very fortunate to have Duke Energy, our largest taxpayer, and to always, see the increases that they have and the other public service companies we have in our county. The registered motor vehicles showed a slight increase through December of 2025, and market research projects a modest increase of 1 to 3% increase in new car values this year and used car values to stabilize for 2026. Collection standpoint, our ratio last year unpublished was 98.19. January 31 of 25, the ratio was 92.70. On January 31 of 26, it was 92.45. But from coming to take, when I had sent this in, we found that there had been a wire transfer that hadn't come over correctly, and our ratio would have been 92.81, so which is increased from 92.70. We're planning on sending out our notices to the taxpayers who haven't paid their 25 taxes here next week. And then we'll go also send out a call blast to all the taxpayers that haven't paid the last week of this month, letting them know that if they haven't paid their taxes by March 6th, that they will be advertised in the paper. Foreclosures, this has been, for several years. We had to stop them due to, the COVID situation. And this has really, I have been very impressed with this, how things have gone on with Zacchaeus Legal Services. He has 43 at the present time. 20 have been billed by him at the time. The ones that he has were very difficult ones that the former county attorney had, and we're hoping to have a sale soon in the 26-27 fiscal year. But Rockingham County's, our goal is to collect the outstanding taxes, as y'all know, rather than proceed with foreclosures whenever possible. There have been several payments and payment arrangements made in connection with pending foreclosures. We've had 3 in the past week that were already sent to the foreclosure attorney, come in and pay the foreclosure attorney's fee and pay us up-to-date current. So it is working. It's just taken a little while because of the ones that they have, but this will help the back percentage and the current collection percentage. In summary, real property ejections will be better finalized out by March 31 of this year. The 2028 revaluation advancement, again, stops the DOR mandated revaluation based on the sales ratio, public utility equalization, and keeps property values more stable with the current market, which it affects everyone. And registered motor vehicles appear to be stable, and the collection percentages remain constant compared with the previous year. Thank you, Board, Chairman, and the Board again for the agreeing to do the revaluation and for the update on the pictometry, and any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hurst. I believe Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, just a quick one. I've been quizzed about this. Regarding, I'm interested in the delta as far as tax is concerned to the county in regard to the Unified building that has changed hands in the last 365 days.
Right now, it won't have any effect. They paid $45 million for the building. It won't affect any of the value because they've technically just demoing inside the plant. As they get further into it, we're going to have a scheduled meeting. Mr. Metzler and Lee have requested again that we have a meeting with the reval project manager and the owner in regards to looking at that rate far as we have for the data center for the next revaluation. It'll have to stay that rate until 2028. But as we go through the condition of it, we will look at advancing it as we can in honor of the schedule of values.
Yeah, and am I correct? I have not heard about any delayed taxes. We haven't deferred any taxes for the data center.
On that, I do not know, honestly. I do not know on that end of it.
Ultimately, I believe they don't have equipment in there yet.
Right.
And so you're just looking at the value of the building until they get equipment in there.
Yes.
So there wouldn't be anything as far as deferred. And we didn't.
We didn't defer any.
Yeah, we didn't enter into any sort of agreement.
Commissioners.
Right. As far as any sort of, when he's saying deferred, he's talking about any sort of incentive. We didn't approve anything along those lines, right?
Not as of yet.
I believe that's what he's referring to as well, so.
Okay. So I believe that's all the questions we have, but if you could do one thing for the benefit of the public, could you just go over the sort of programs we have for people that are unable to pay their taxes? I know that you mentioned earlier foreclosures, and we never want to have it get to that point, but I've had a couple of elderly folks reach out to me and ask me about different things we have for low income and that sort of thing. Could you just go over a couple of the things that we have in of that nature?
Yes, sir. We have the homestead exclusion, which if you were 65 years or older or permanently and totally disabled, they offer half off of the value of the property, which that's half off of 1 acre or less. If it's over an acre, it wouldn't get it on that part. But that way, that can help. They have until June 1st of this year to apply for that. And then if it does happen, if it's a medical reason or anything, a legit reason, our board always looks at that. We never stop them as of June 1 because we know things happen and people can miss deadlines with that, so we never stop that. There's the disabled vet, which is 100% disabled veteran that can get $45,000 off of their taxes, no matter what income they have. It doesn't matter. They can get that off of that. And that can go to the spouse as long as the spouse doesn't remarry. So that can with that. That's until June 1st also, and then we have late applications all the time we take in, and we schedule our board meetings based on how many, exemptions and exclusions we get. We also will work payment arrangements out with anyone. Karen does a great job, our tax collection supervisor, her and her staff. We understand things happen. Just because things go delinquent doesn't mean that we do not want to work with the taxpayer. The last thing we want to see someone do is to lose their home or lose their property. The majority of the foreclosures that we do have now are heir properties, where there are so many heirs they can't agree on it, and then they don't want to, they don't know anything else to do but to let it go, honestly. And, but yes, they can call me at my number, 8293, or Karen in collections, and we'll be glad to work out arrangements or anything we can on them.
So just for anyone listening out there, if you have a concern, please reach out to us before June the 1st for the upcoming year. Is that correct? Thanks, Todd. Commissioner Callum.
I know we were currently doing a revow. Is that finished, or are we still doing it?
Yes. That one has, the
part.
24 has finished. We will be beginning to start the 25 here very soon.
I know you was talking about the flyover was going to be in December to January?
Yes, they did it January the 8th, and they did the last set of photos January the 12th.
Okay.
And we will be using them for this 28 revaluation.
Another question with that, go along with Commissioner Barra. I had a couple of people to call. If instead of coming out in August and them feeling they have between August to the end of the year to pay, especially some that have larger payments or they're financially strapped, can they come in and see you before August and start trying to pay on taxes ahead?
Yes, we have prepays already going on now from people that started.
So they can actually start first of the year, start making prepays?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And they don't have to set up a certain payment amount with it. They could arrange to pay what they want to in the beginning, if they want to pay more in the beginning and pay less in the fall. As long as they're paid by January 5th of next year, they won't be considered delinquent.
But they can come in and start making payments ahead for this coming year.
Yes, sir.
So when August comes out, they're a lot less.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to go back just to one thing, Commissioner Richardson, you had asked. The incentives on white fiber, there are incentives, but they don't kick in until after they've invested new money of over $100 million. And they're not even close to that at this point. So there are incentives, but it doesn't start until that $100 million is invested. So.
Okay.
Any other questions, gentlemen? With that, we'll move on to the next item. Thank you, Todd. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Good evening.
And the general fund, we'll start with the general fund first. And 27 is projected to be a little bit more than 131 million, representing an increase of approximately 4.47% over the FY 25-26 budget. Expenditure growth is primarily driven by personnel-related costs, which continue to represent some of the largest portion of the general fund expenditures. some of the assumptions that we're using to drive some of those costs. Salary and benefit projections include assume a 3% cost of living adjustment. An average merit increase of approximately 3.0 is distributed throughout the fiscal year, and associated increases in fringe benefits. Funding is also included to continue the implementation of the county's compensation study. So collectively, these adjustments result in an estimated 4.5% increase in salaries and benefits spread across most of the departments. Another assumption that we're looking at this year is the health insurance premiums and the increasing costs of health expenditures. These are being evaluated with our partner, Pierce Group Benefits. As you've heard, the county is experiencing an increase in those medical expenditures for the first half of FY26. We are currently evaluating those strategies that we went into the fiscal year and other strategies to help keep those costs relatively low for staff and for the county. Another assumption is, or another fact, the North Carolina retirement system voted recently to increase the employer contribution, which will also have an impact on some of those personnel-related fringe benefits costs. Moving on down into some of the operating expenditures. Operating expenditures are projected to increase about 2.2%. That's consistent with the December 2025 Consumer Price Index. Departments have been asked to limit unavoidable costs, absorb some of the inflationary increases as feasible. We know that's hard. This approach supports expenditure control while we're trying to maintain a core service delivery for our citizens. As in past, this budget continues to allocate the majority of the general fund resources to public safety, human services, and education, reflecting our statutory obligation and ongoing service commitment to the citizens of Rockingham County. Capital outlay appropriations are limited and prioritized for critical needs. Capital planning emphasizes pay-as-you-go financing, the use of dedicated capital reserves. We also like to minimize the new and long-term debt, and that's consistent with the long-range financial plan and objectives in our policies. Moving on down into the revenue estimates. Revenue estimates for the FY 26-27 budget year are based on a conservative forecasting assumptions. Ad valorem tax revenues are projected to increase by around 3%, driven primarily by the tax base growth. Sales tax revenues and intergovernmental revenues and investment earnings are budgeted cautiously to account for economic uncertainty in the next fiscal year. To maintain a balanced budget, the budget includes a proposed tax increase of $0.67, generating approximately $2 million in additional revenue. This is just an estimate to balance the revenue needed for all expenditures and assumptions that have been calculated along with other adjustments that have been made. Once the amount of revenue is determined, the tax base will then be estimated and that calculation will be performed. This is subject to change as the budget development process occurs and those needs are better identified.
Just to pause for 1 second, not to panic. Every year you see that we always propose an increase, and we try to come in at, well, we do come in at the same rate, but that's just to show you from a 30,000.
Every year that I've been on the board, when we have this meeting, we say that, and then every year you guys work on it and work on it and work on it, so
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. The FY 26-27 budget also appropriates a $2.5 million of fund balance that has been consistent with the county's fund balance policy and reflects ongoing effort to preserve the reserves and for emergencies and economic uncertainties, and then the future for those contingencies and capital needs that occur throughout the year. Overall, the FY 26-27 general fund budget reflects a fiscally responsible plan that addresses known cost drivers, supports ongoing service delivery, and maintains the flexibility to respond to future financial market conditions as they change. That concludes the general fund piece. If you have any questions, we can talk about those now, or we can move into the enterprise funds.
Commissioner Hall?
I noticed on the, one of the pages here, the investment earnings, it's the top of the second page. You've got that down from 2 million to 1.9 million. I'm assuming that's because these projects are winding up and we have less money in the bank.
And interest rates?
Interest rates are starting to decline a little bit, but also we are utilizing a lot of those grant funds. So the more of those projects near completion, the less money we have that's earning those income.
So we're going from last year anticipating 2.155 million in earnings. This current year, we had 2 million in earnings, and next year, you're forecasting 1.9 million.
Yes, sir.
So you're being conservative on that.
Yes, yes. And you want to do that with on your revenues specifically.
Thank you.
Commissioner Berger?
And just for the general public and our aspiring keyboard warriors, what you're presenting today is just plugging in some very general numbers. Nothing's been given to the county manager to start critiquing at this point. So nobody's proposing a tax increase, right?
That's absolutely correct. And the budget process is just now getting started and underway. And as those needs are further defined, then our estimates will get a little bit sharper too.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Richardson?
I'm just interested in your personal opinion. Our fund balance as a percentage compared to what the state recommends, how healthy are we?
I think the county's in a very good financially healthy position. I don't have that percentage in front of me, but we can definitely bring that to a future meeting.
It's very, very good, very healthy.
Well, it's improved every year I've been on this board, and sometimes a lot and sometimes not so much, but it's essential to provide the flex that we need for the unexpected.
That and the fact that when you start talking about doing expansions of buildings and stuff like that, that gives us a little bit of room to not have to borrow as much money when you can use funds like for FF&E and designing some of the other stuff from your fund balance versus having to debt service that, which I don't like debt service and FF&E and planning.
No, but we'd have to do debt, and it improves our saleability. We're a better risk.
Gentlemen, do we have anything else for Mr. McGahey? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, the last part is just a general discussion from you all to give us as staff any type of direction you want us to go down. Obviously, I know that maintaining the tax rate is obviously a given, but any other direction that you all want to give us on the surface?
Mr. Manager, I'll go through the list here. So Commissioner Callum.
What now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any direct recommendations for the upcoming budget for Mr. Metzler? No. Commissioner Hall?
Well, number one, thank you for your conscientious work on this. We appreciate the control you guys exert over the budget, so continue on. We appreciate it.
Commissioner Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do spend a little time wandering around the building here, and Lance, you obviously do, you and Derek. And there are places where if you weren't watching the pot, it would at least leak, if not boil over. And I know you spend a lot of time talking with our folks over in maintenance and engineering, because that's a place where costs can overrun, especially if you have something like you were relating regarding fixing our water lines, sewer line. So my thanks is to you guys primarily for staying vigilant, because you never know what's coming up, and finding a good example is finding the extra money that's going to come out of the gasification effort out at the landfill. So many thanks to not just Mandy, but all of the department heads that contribute to making the budget work. Well, let me think about it. Those ladies have done some remarkable things, and the county is beholden to you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Berger?
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate you giving us this information today. I think we'll get some answers as far as the IT part of what's going on with the sheriff's office, and hopefully if we need to do something, hopefully that can be accomplished. And I do know that the insurance company had informed us that once we have somebody else running the show over there, that rates would improve. So I would ask you to just find out, since we're going to have a 5-month deal, if we can either get a 6-month premium and then maybe a different premium after 6, or if there's some way to break that up, since we'll satisfy part of that obligation to get the premiums down come December.
Okay.
Well, for me, I just want to thank everybody. I know this is just the beginning of a very long process, so all the work that's already been put into it, I appreciate, and all the work that will continue to go into it. Thank you very much. I'm sure Olivia is going to be very busy over the next couple months, but thank you all. I appreciate it. As I had Mr. Hurst discuss earlier, issues with people having problems paying their taxes. My request would be, with the property reevaluations, people saw huge jumps in their home values, which gave people a lot of sticker shock. So I would request that if possible, I know we have to balance the budget, but if anything we can do, not only to keep us revenue neutral, but if we can do anything to help cut the rate, provide people some tax relief, I would really appreciate that, and so would they. So if you can do anything to help those folks, we would all appreciate it. So thank you very much. Well, gentlemen, if that's not anything else, any other questions, I will call for a motion to adjourn our budget discussion here. Motion by Commissioner Richardson.
So moved. Second.
Second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order, our regular meeting for February 16th. We will begin with an invocation by Pastor Lance Cole from First Baptist Church of Reidsville, followed by the pledge by Carter Cole and Asher Cole. So Pastor Cole, if you'd please come up, if you're able, if you could stand for us.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, let us never gather together without thanking you for your blessings, for the way in which you have watched over us and cared for us. Lord, even with conflict and uncertainty, we know that you are still the Lord of all creation, that you still look at us with love and compassion, and that you desire for each and every one of us to look at our neighbor with love and compassion. Help us never to forget these facts. Help these men as they serve our county to do so with wisdom, to do so with their own measure of compassion and faith and love for their neighbor. Help each person here as we listen to the business that is going to be conducted here tonight. Let us do so in a way that we seek to honor and glorify you, and to leave this place and to seek an opportunity to honor and glorify you in whatever work that you have planned for us. Let's do all this with a thankful and grateful heart. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'd be remiss to state that Pastor Cole represents First Baptist Church of Reidsville, and we have Carter and Asher with us, ages 12 and 10. They are homeschooled, and they belong to the Trail Life Troop 007. So, gentlemen, it's your pleasure. If everyone please face the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That next takes us to item 3, recognition that will be presented by County Manager Lance Mesla.
Yes, sir. It's an honor and privilege to read this resolution in honor of the Reidsville High School Rams. They did an excellent job, as they do almost every year over the past centuries of being in Reidsville. So a resolution congratulating the Reidsville High School Rams football team for winning the 2025 NCHSAA State 4A Championship. Whereas the Reidsville High School Rams football team played the Brevard High School Blue Devils at Mortez Stadium in Hickory, North Carolina on December the 13th and won by a score of 50-20 to win the 2025 North Carolina High School Athletic Association State 4A Championship. And whereas this championship game represents the Reidsville Rams' 31st appearance since 1930 in the NCHSAA State Championship football game, and the 24th title win in the history of Reidsville football, with no other school having won more NCHSAA football titles. And whereas after ending the non-conference schedule with 2 losses, the Rams came together and won 9 consecutive games to finish an outstanding winning season with an impressive 13-2 overall record and an undefeated 6-0 conference record. And whereas the accomplishments of the 2025 Reidsville High School Rams football team can be attributed to their individual abilities, experience, and the players' determination to bring home a win by working together as a team. And whereas the Reidsville High School Rams football team throughout this winning season exhibited the skill and tenacity necessary to win a state football championship, with Coach Eric Teague describing the championship game as a showcase of the team's offensive firepower and defensive solidity. Now, therefore, the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners hereby congratulates the 2025 Reidsville High School Rams football team for its outstanding season, expresses appreciation for its accomplishment in bringing another NCHSAA State Football Championship to the city of Reidsville, and to the County of Rockingham, and in particular congratulates each of the following players, coaches, trainers, and individuals of his or her personal contributions. And for the benefit of the group here, I'm not going to read the names because I don't want to slaughter the names like I did last time, but we have plenty of players, the head coach, coaching staff, principal, assistant principal, athletic director, ball boy, equipment managers, the band director, statistician, cheerleader coach. It's long, the list is long, but it's so distinguished, but I'll ask the board if they would mind presenting this to Coach Teague and his players and staff if they're here. Y'all come up here.
Yeah, we'll have you come around.
Coach, if you get in the middle of that'd be great.
Couple, 1, 2, 3. More. 1, 2, 3. You want to get you?
Sorry.
If you want a picture, you can come closer. You don't have to. Come on. Anybody else? Yeah.
Okay, right. Pretty close to it.
Yeah, I just slide in his head.
I just want to take a point of privilege for a recognition real quick. All the players are important, all the people are important, all the teams are important, but we have Alex, the kicker, Penaloza, with us tonight, and he hit a kick that took him to the championship. So thanks for being with us here tonight, Alex, and what a kick.
Good job.
So, gentlemen, we had a couple of weeks to look over this agenda. Do we have any changes that we need to make or any motions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Commissioner.
I'd like to move that we take item 11, the update from Jeremy Delap, and move that in front of public comment. And with that, I make a motion. We accept it as amended.
Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Richard to accept as amended. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about anything on the consent agenda, please reach out to the county manager's office. Gentlemen, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion. Motion by Commissioner Richardson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Callum. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So that will take us to our amended agenda item number 7 with our presentation from Mr. Jeremy Delap. If you please come up.
How y'all doing?
Sorry for putting you off for 2 weeks, but we appreciate you being here.
Oh, yeah, that's no problem at all. Let's see, all right. So, thanks for having me. I'm Jeremy Delap with NCDOT, and I got Brian Kettner here with me as well. He's a division project delivery engineer. Last month, Wright Archer, our division engineer, he gave an update of some active projects and some future projects that was going to take place in Rockingham County, and one in particular was the US 220 I-73 upgrade to interstate standards. And Commissioner Richardson asked me back tonight to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, so that's kind of what we're going to discuss tonight. So basically, we acquired $2 million to do a PE study from I-73, right there on 220 near Newnham Road, up to NC 135. What this study will detail is the start environmental document process. It'll also give us a good footprint of where maybe some interchanges may come, some overpasses, the service roads that may be acquired.
Jeremy, if I could, some folks are having a hard time hearing, and so if you could pull that microphone up, that would be great.
How's that?
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, where I was at, some interchanges that may be needed along US 220 and some service roads in the general area. Once we reach the end of the study, which will approximately take about 3 years, we will have some public outreach. It'll give the folks some opportunity to have some feedback, some comments, so we can sort of put that in our design as we move forward. Let's see. So some of the key areas focus along US 220. Of course, to get US 220 interstate standards, it's got to be full control access. That means eliminating all driveways, at-grade crossings, any kind of roadway connections to meet those interstate standards. Along that, we had a feasibility study, a concept design that originated around 2024-25 to kind of get this ball rolling. And they've identified, as you know, from I-73 to 135, there's 2 existing interchanges, 704 and NC 135. It looks like there possibly may be 2 additional interchanges, one at Simpson Road and the other one just north at Sardis Church Road, with addition of 2 overpasses at Williams Road and Ellisboro Road, where it'll tie into Tourist Road, which will then connect to NC 704. And then anything there, we'll have to have some service roads there to allow access for the businesses and residents that are currently located along US 220. And those service roads will be on the east-west side of US 220, all up and down it. So speaking of one of the existing interchanges, NC 135, I think y'all saw this slide last time, but this contract has been let. We're hoping to start sometime late spring on that and complete of November of 2028. Basically, when they redo this bridge right here, they will get that interchange brought up to interstate standards to accommodate the future I-73. So we're ahead of the game on this interchange. So what's next moving forward? Of course, we've got the study, we've got the $2 million, we've got the designs coming, we get the environmental documents. That way, it'll sort of lay out the impacts of where the wetlands may be, streams, any kind of historic sites. That's kind of lay the groundwork of that. The biggest thing is funding. This project has not been funded yet, and it's got to go through the normal scoring process to get on the STIP and to be approved by the Board of Transportation to move this project forward. Initially, the feasibility study and the concept design, they had this broken down into 2 segments. From I-73 to NC 135, and then 135 to the Virginia state line. Well, since then, NCDOT got together and they feel like it would have been better and it will score better against other projects throughout the state if we broke it down into 4 smaller segments, which starting at the south, I-73 to Sardis Church, and then just moving north to 135, then 135 to 770, and then on the Virginia state line. Of course, with the smaller segments, it comes like a smaller price tag, so we're hoping it'll score better, and that's what we're hoping. Of course, when it gets funded, design process will keep going, public outreach will keep going to get those people's feedback before we get too far along. And then once we get to where if we feel comfortable, right-of-way acquisition will start getting acquired, reaching out to those property owners,